What is up, my fellow adventurers? Now I swear, not a week goes by where I don't see somebody in the camping groups that I'm on Facebook asking, how are the bugs up in Algonquin? What's the black fly situation like? How are the mosquitoes in Killarney? And to me, that just sounds like somebody's letting bugs ruin their great time in the outdoors. Personally, I grew up with bugs. They were part of life, part of the culture, as I like to say. It just seems normal to me that I'm gonna get eaten alive when I go out. Black flies are unreal. This is wild. Now there's plenty of things you can do to prevent bugs, or at least make them a little bit more tolerable. And these are things I've learned over the years that I thought I'd share with you guys. I'm going to kind of lay this video out in stages, and I'm going to term them lines of defense. First line of defense is going to be things that it's nothing extra to bring, it's just maybe a different choice or something you do at home to prevent the bugs. And the first thing I'm going to say is location, location, location. So a lot of times on a camping trip, you're going to have a choice of which site to pick. And you can make some smart decisions or you can make some very poor decisions. So when I'm choosing a site, a lot of times what I like to do is pick a site that has wind that day. First site we stopped on had no wind and the black flies were fierce. So I decided we want wind. That's going to keep black flies and mosquitoes at bay most of the time. It's not going to necessarily help with horse flies and deer flies because wind doesn't seem to affect them so much. At least you're knocking off two of the bugs that are coming at you for your blood. You can also choose a site with lots of sunlight. Now the black flies and mosquitoes, a lot of times sunlight's going to prevent them, and you'll find they're far worse in the shade. So it might be a matter of just setting your chair over there or over there. And the third thing I'm going to say about location is watch out for both standing water and running water. As nice as it may be to have the sound of a stream nearby, during black fly season, that's gonna be a bad choice. Black flies like to breed in running water, so streams are where black flies are born. Puddles are where mosquitoes are born, or ponds, things just to watch out for. If you can have a site with all three of those elements, you're going to have the least amount of bugs. Another thing you can do, which doesn't require you to bring anything, is just do some preventative maintenance or smarter choices at home, such as using unscented soaps before you go out. A lot of times bugs are attracted to strong scents, so choosing a soap that doesn't have a scent is the way to go. Don't wear perfumes, just stay away from that stuff. Now what my girlfriend Castle likes to do is take this a step further, and she likes to use eucalyptus as part of her soap, washing routine, however you want to say it, before a camping trip, because bugs do not like eucalyptus. There's a lot of all-natural bug sprays that incorporate eucalyptus into them. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is clothes. You gotta wear clothes anyways, unless you're a nudist. When you're choosing your clothes for a trip, typically you want to stay away from darker colors such as black, red, dark blues. Those are the colors that bugs are more attracted to. At least that's what they say. You're going to want to gravitate towards lighter colors such as white, light green, and light blue. Another bonus of picking lighter colors is it makes ticks easier to spot. You can spot them from a mile away on a white t-shirt, whereas a black one, it's not so obvious. Stay away from tight-fitting clothing. A little bit loose, baggy on you, that's going to keep the bugs from being able to just poke through with their little stinger and drink some of your precious, precious blood. Another thing to keep in mind is the type of clothing that you're wearing. The materials that it's made out of play a big role in whether those bugs can bite you through them. Now you want to stay away from things like cotton because it's thin and just more penetrable for the bugs. You want to lean towards things like denim, wool, ripstop nylon, and velvet? If it works, it works. Another thing you can do is be conscious of the detergent that you use on your clothes. Again, something unscented is probably for the best. Now another thing you want to keep in mind with your clothes is how you wear your clothes. I will roll my pants into my socks and tuck my t-shirt into my pants. Now if you want to take your clothing choices to the next level, you can actually get clothes that have permethrin in them, which prevents bugs. It's actually what a lot of companies use to spray for bugs when they're spraying around your yard. keep those pesky bugs away. Now these clothes are going to be a little bit more expensive, and you're going to have to keep in mind that the more you wash them, the less effective the spray is. Now I think there is sprays you can buy to spray any clothes you have, but again, that's probably going to be limited to how long it lasts. Now your second line of defense is going to be things that you're going to have to buy, you're going to have to bring with you, but they don't take a lot of space up in your pack, and they do make a very big difference. These are things like bug spray, mosquito coils, diffusers, candles, etc., etc. Very small items that you can bring with you to make your outdoor experience a little bit more enjoyable and keep those bugs at bay. My personal favorite in this category is the old bug spray. Now, more specifically, I prefer the off Deep Woods. I pretty much don't buy anything else because I've had experiences where I had to buy some bug spray in a pinch on my way up, and yeah, it doesn't work as good. So I just stick to the tried and true. Another reason the Deep Woods is my favorite is because you can find it almost anywhere. It's commonplace. Now it will eat through just about everything. So when you have the old school bug spray or Deep Woods in your pack, I highly recommend that you put it in a Ziploc bag or something like that, because there's lots of materials that it likes to eat through. I've personally had it explode in my pack and actually eat one of my GoPro battery chargers to the point where it wouldn't stay together anymore. Now if you are in a pinch and you have to buy something else, just look for the DEET content in it. That's the most important factor in it. Another thing I'll say about the bug spray is that a little dab will do you. You don't need to go crazy dousing yourself in it. You watch some people and they're just like and there goes half a bottle. All I typically do is a little shot on my hand and rub that on my two hands. A little spray on your hand and on your face, and I usually just let my clothing do the rest. So a bottle will typically last me an entire season. You can also bring stuff like eucalyptus sprays and stuff like that, and that's actually what we use on our dog Nona. We've actually found that it works pretty much just as good as bug spray. We've often thought we should just try it out on ourselves and see how that goes as a comparison test to normal bug spray. And this is stuff you can just find at most local pet stores. No, it doesn't seem to like the bug spray we got for her.
Okay. Oh, it's okay.
Other than that, she just goes and hides in bushes, which is another strategy. Learn from my dog and hide under a little bush. Now there are other alternatives to the bug spray, things like mosquito coils, which are great for enclosed spaces. There's also things like diffusers and candles, which are effective, but when you're out in the wind a little bit, I'm sure they lose a little bit of their effectiveness. Now there's one thing that I haven't tried, which is the new Dragonfly Buddies or Dragonfly Wingmans, whatever the heck they're called. A little clip with a fake dragonfly that flies over your shoulder. I have heard from people that they do work. I just have no personal experience to speak on. I've thought about buying one just to give it a try. Definitely see the effectiveness on dragonflies. When dragonflies come around, usually the bugs are on their way out. I love when you see the dragonflies come out. Another thing you can do is bring some tape or double-sided tape with you and put some of that on the back of your hat. And that's great for deer flies and horse flies because that's like their favorite place to go for, is the back of your head. That also works great for ticks. If you do the sock roll and put some double-sided tape or some tape wrapped backwards so that the sticky side is out around your ankles, that is a great way to catch those pesky ticks. Now your third line of defense, this is where it gets to military grade. You're bringing some extra stuff. You're putting a barrier between you and the bugs, and you just don't want to get one bite. If you do, it's the end of the world. This is honestly a last resort in my mind. All the other methods usually keep me perfectly happy, but I know everybody has a different tolerance level for bugs. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about in this category is bug hats or bug suits, depending on how serious you are about that physical barrier. Now, personally, I don't think these are a very fun time. They're super hot out in the sun. It becomes almost like wearing a sweater on a hot day while the bugs try and bite you. It's almost more annoying than the bugs in my personal opinion. But another negative thing I'll say about them is it's not fun to try and drink through. It's doable. One time when I was on a camping trip, I spent a whole weekend drinking through one because the black flies were just horrendous. Next level bad. And obviously the step up from bug hat would be a full bug suit, either covering down to your wrists or your whole body. I think those exist. God, you might as well be fending off bees if you're wearing one of those. Now these really don't take up much space in your pack. As you can see, fits in the palm of my hand. But they only work for one person. Whereas bug spray can work for 20 people. Can't imagine trying to share a bug suit. If you are trying to share your physical barrier to fight those bugs off, you might want to step up to something like this, which is a full-on bug tent. Now, I'm sure everyone has experience with bug tents. I mean, I grew up in bug tents camping at a local campground. And we always had our bug tent up. Great place to play cards and stuff. And if you're staying at a provincial park and you're just car camping, it's probably one of your best bets. Now the one that I have is a string up bug tent. So it's a little bit more backcountry friendly. You can just string it up between 4 trees. You're not dealing with heavy poles. The only thing is it's a little bit more of a pain to set up because you're limited to where you can set it up. But there are a few different options. You don't have to tie all 4 corners out. It'll still give you a bit of an area that you can sit and relax in. The only thing about that one is that it doesn't have a roof, so rain can still get in. I've seen ones that do have a roof on them, and if I was buying it again, I'd probably lean towards something like that. Well, I hope that helps you guys out. Hopefully I gave you some tips on how to fight away those pesky bugs, or at least keep them at bay if you're more of a pacifist. Now get out there for some adventures of your own, even when the bugs are bad.